Welcome to Brighter Rays. This is a study called The Place of God. We're looking at Genesis chapter 30. And specifically in this study, we're looking at 1 through 24. In the next study, we'll look at the rest of Genesis chapter 30. So what are we looking at this week? Well, before us we have a story of a married woman who feels unloved by her husband. A woman who feels that by getting pregnant, she will be able to, win the heart of her husband, who is cold and distant from her. This is also a story of a wife who cannot get pregnant and desperately wishes that she could have a child. It's a story of two sisters that are so competitive and envious of each other that they will trample on other people just to get a one-up on each other. This is a story of two women who are slave masters, using their servants to get children for themselves. It's also a story of a husband who marries 4 women. And this is a story of a man that capitulates to the women in his life. And this is a story of the Bible, which is amazing to think about. This is the story of one of the patriarchs of the Bible. Well, in Genesis 30, 1 through 24, we see all of this craziness and really more. But most of all, we see God, and that's the point. We see God working out His plan. We see God working out His purpose in the lives of these messed up individuals. This is a real story of real people that God chose to bring about the salvation of the world. In this passage, we see the envy of Rachel and the anger of Jacob in verses 1 through 2. And then in verses 3 through 13, we're going to see we have a wrestling match going on. There's a wrestling match between the sisters, Rachel and Leah, between themselves. And it's really about who's going to win the heart of Jacob. Who is the better sister, I think. So you see this crazy war going on, this wrestling match between them, using children, using babies of all things. In 14 through 21, in those verses, we're going to see some superstition. We're going to see some envy, more envy. And we're going to see some trading of goods for services. And then finally, we find the Lord remembering Rachel in verses 22 through 24 when she's finally able to conceive a child. And it's Joseph. So this is a crazy, wild story, a bunch of stuff going on in this section of Jacob's life. And so that's what we're going to be looking at this week as we go through Genesis chapter 30, 1 through 24.